Washington, what a mess. Give America an update. What's going on?
Well, it is a mess because people in the House like Nadler and Schiff and Cummings, they want to continue this chasing a false story. They're beating it to death. I think they're hurting themselves. At the same time, they're a distraction. I mean, they serve hundreds of subpoenas. They can't decide who's conducting the investigation. I mean, there are 6 different investigations, John. Thousands of requests for documents. It's like they're falling all over themselves. So the president is doing the right thing in resisting their subpoenas, not because he doesn't want to cooperate. He cooperated with the special counsel. He gave him 1.4 million documents. We just don't want to do it over again. We did it. They have that all. Go read it. They want to have a show on television during the afternoon so that Nadler can get his face on television, so that Cummings can pretend that he wants the truth. You know, he's had a chance with Cohen. He let Cohen lie and get away with it. And Schiff, I don't know what he's about. I mean, Schiff should be a witness. He claimed a couple of months ago, a year ago, that he had evidence of collusion, direct evidence. Since Mueller couldn't find it, instead of holding a hearing, he should be testifying about it. If I could find a way to put him under oath and ask him what that stuff is that he has, I'd ask him. But that's one part. The second part is we're making a lot of progress in the investigation of what happened. And I think that's going to be the real scandal that emerges from this. When this gets all done, John, the Democrats are going to say, we never should have organized this false charge against Donald Trump, because it's going to turn out that the only crimes committed here were committed by Democrats on behalf of Hillary Clinton and the DNC.
You know, the American people still feel that there's no equal justice. The Attorney General has assigned certain U.S. attorneys to investigate the Pfizer court, etc.
Well, that is correct, John. The Bill Barr has appointed U.S. attorney to investigate the initiation of the investigation. There are 2 others. The Inspector General is almost finished with his investigation, and there are 2 other U.S. attorneys investigating different aspects of this. But the main question is, how did it start? This didn't come from nowhere, the charge of Russian collusion with Trump and the Trump organization. It's untrue. It's completely untrue. They have no evidence of it. So it didn't come out of thin air, John. Somebody made it up, and then somebody propagated it, and they made it up using lies, false documents. Everything I'm saying right now I can prove. I just don't know all of them and who the ringleader was. But some of them are, in my opinion, as a former prosecutor, the evidence is so overwhelming that there's definitely going to be some people to get prosecuted here.
What else would you like to tell America on a Sunday morning? Is there any hope that Democrats and Republicans are going to work together?
Well, I think, I would like to say yes. It is a Sunday morning, and I always like to be optimistic. I think, realistically, I think we work together after they lose another time. They never got recovered from Trump beating them. They believed so firmly that Hillary was going to be in the White House. Okay, they all had to go to psychiatrists afterwards, remember? They had to get psychiatrists in the schools, and it was just kind of crazy, right? And but worse than that, a certain group of them decided to take him out. They decided beforehand to prevent him, and they decided afterwards that they continued that with their insurance policy to take him out. And that group is the group that's going to have to pay a price. I think we have to get that out of our system. It's got to be expunged like a cancer. And then I think you have to have a win in 2020. And I think then they'll have to settle down and say the American public has spoken twice. We can't try another, I don't know, you could call it a coup, I guess, but it's sort of an illegal conspiracy to remove him from office. We got to just settle down and work together.
Now,
I actually think there are some that would like to. I think Schumer and Pelosi, despite the fact that they have to play to the crazy people in their party, I think they'd like to work together, but they can't right now.
I believe that. I think Schumer and Pelosi want to move on. They realize that they have to move on. Now, it seems like the 2 targets are Comey and Brennan from the CIA that were perpetuating the big lie. Does that seem like that to you too?
I certainly feel safe saying that Comey is definitely at the right in the bullseye because of all the things that we know publicly that Comey did. I mean, I can point to 2 or 3 areas where it seems pretty clear that he committed perjury. Certainly, his handling of the Steele dossier amounts to at least gross negligence, if not intentional deception. I mean, he gets the dossier. It's completely salacious. It's totally unverified. And he presents it to the court on a document that's marked on the very top verified. And he puts a footnote in. I'll give you the page, John, page 15, footnote 5. And the footnote says that Steele is reliable. That's a flat-out lie. Steele wasn't reliable. Here are the things wrong with it. Steele never went to Russia. He wrote a big, long dossier saying that Donald Trump did all these things where he'd have to be in the madhouse to have done them. And they're not corroborated. Whatever you can corroborate turns out to be untrue. The Cohen meeting, he says that the Russians were passing out money to these people in the Miami consulate, the Russian Miami consulate. The Assistant Secretary of State bothered to check. There is no Russian consulate in Miami. Comey didn't even bother to check. At least he should have called his field office to check out what the guy was developing from Miami. I mean, I used to work at the highest level of the Justice Department. What this guy did in this case is totally absurd. He took a one-sentence thing from Papadopoulos, an obviously on its face phony dossier, and he goes out and he gets a FISA warrant to spy on Americans. If he doesn't have to pay a price for that, then, man, we're in trouble. Wow. We're in real trouble. Then he lies. He lies about so many different things. I mean, he leaks information in order to get a special prosecutor through a professor at Columbia. He gives him private FBI documents. Who the heck does that but a slimy guy?
You're 100% correct. We got a minute left. Anything else you'd like to tell the American public this Sunday morning?
I'd like to tell the people in New York that if you had been the mayor, the city would be in a lot better shape, John. I thought it's hilarious that our friend de Blasio is running for mayor. And I think it's absolutely now America will find out what New Yorkers know. He's when you call him Big Bird, it's a compliment.
Well, maybe I'll try it one more time. You never know.
Oh, John, man, I get up and I'm heartbroken. You know, I don't want to joke around about it. I took being mayor very seriously. Thought I left the city in pretty good shape to Mike Bloomberg. Mike and I disagree a lot now on President Trump, et cetera, but he was a good mayor, and he left the city in good shape. I was always pleased with that. I can't believe what he's doing. I mean, first of all, it doesn't work. It doesn't go to work.
Yeah, well,
well.
Mayor Giuliani, America's mayor.
Not worth getting aggravated about. The Democrats know how bad he is, not just us.
Well, they're complaining a lot, too.
Yep.
Mayor, thank you for coming on and telling the American public everything that's the truth and telling
Thank
the
you,
truth.
John.